Hi, I'm Blueprint. You're watching Danger Media.
I'm here with Blueprint, esteemed record label, hip hop label mogul, based here in Central Ohio. And thanks for agreeing to do this and talking with me today. I guess the first thing I need to ask you is, well, just tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got started in this game.
Well, I started selling tapes, cassette tapes, way back in 99, 98. I can say my age, but right before cassette tapes were like completely not cool. We were selling them, so there was kind of novelty attached to them.
Right.
And that was just me and my crew, Greenhouse Effect, and then we did a Logic tape. We were like, I lived in Cincinnati. I grew up here in Cincinnati at the time. Between Cincinnati and Columbus, we were just like, I would make 2 tapes every show. We sold like 500 or 600 Greenhouse tapes, and 800,000 Logic tapes. And we were just like, okay, maybe we should do CDs. Right there, tapes weren't cool anymore. So we put them out on CD again, and it was like the beginning of Weighless Records, right, to the public.
How different is it now to date, Columbus feeling hip hop now as opposed to back when you got started?
It's better now. It's better for the self-esteem. Back in the days when you would start, you couldn't put your record in the store. Damn sure couldn't get a write-up in another paper early alive.
Right.
Forget about it.
Right.
You know, you couldn't get a venue. Most of the venues on High Street were closed to us except Bernie's when we first started. And that's kind of how Bernie's became synonymous with hip-hop for a long time, because Little Brother, Scully's, High Five, it didn't matter how many people we brought out at your hip-hop event. You couldn't get a date, not even like a Wednesday, Thursday. You know, so now it feels a lot better because I feel like me and Soul Position and me and Logic and Weighless, a lot of guys, we were the first people that Scully's was messing with, and as well as High Five, as well as like before the High Five remodel, you know, as well as like Little Brothers, the first people to do those rooms with strictly local hip hop, pack those rooms or sell those rooms out. Right. And a lot of people, the newer cats, they don't even have to worry about that. That's good, because maybe if they're not worried about that, they can worry about putting out great music.
Absolutely.
You know, so I feel good about it, you know, and I think the people who've been here long enough remember back when they couldn't see the hip-hop shows at those venues.
Right.
Then you're not successful, you know.
Right. Tell me a little bit about Soul Position. A lot of people, yeah.
Soul Position is just me, Ryman, and RJD2. You know, we met back in 98, 99 when we had the tapes, and that was in the middle of the raucous, the final, and like the 12-inch final was like king. People were dropping 12-inch singles in hip-hop and selling between 5,000 and 40,000. There were no albums really though, right. But Megahertz was on Final, Bobito's label, and they just put out the Rocket Science 12-inch, and RJ did like the A-side. Someone else did the B-side, I think, Kaboom. And True Skills was like, because I knew True Skills for a long time, and he was like, man, you should meet RJ, man, because True Skills, he was DJing for Greenhouse and Logic at the time,
right.
And I would play my instrumental stuff. He's like, oh, you do instrumental stuff too? That's this guy named RJ, he does instrumental stuff. He just moved back here from the Bay, because RJ's living in the Bay. He's like, man, next time you're in Columbus, because I was living in Cincinnati, but I was going back home to see my family once a month. He's like, next time you're here, I'm going to take you over RJ's house. And so he took me over RJ's house, and I just started playing his stuff, and that's kind of how we met. It was through True Skills, and so I met RJ, and we were cool then, and we were doing the re-release of the Greenhouse Effect album and the Logic album on CD, and I asked the Megahertz to play for us. So the Megahertz copyright, Kaboom, Chikai, and RJ DJ for them. They played with us that night. It was in they used to call Fees World on Fees World, like the back of Hoops Records. When Hoops Records used to be where Monkey's Retreat is now.
Yep.
Yeah. That's where we used to have to play. Like the back of it was like a storage type room. We played there. We did our release party there, and they opened up. And that was kind of RJ's first time seeing me like live. You know, he had heard about me the same way I heard about him. And then that show went really well. Next time I saw him was at the Columbus Expo, the convention center. He just came up. He's like, look, man, you know, I hadn't seen you live before. You know, 8 years old about your music, and I saw something in you, man. It's like, I don't know if you think about doing solo stuff, man, but if you're thinking about it, we should sit down and talk because obviously I do beats and I think that we should sit down and maybe work on some stuff. Right. And I was like, man, because I like this stuff already. Granted, at that time we both were nobodies, kind of. So no one gave a shit about his record or Blueprint record, or so we just started meeting up every other weekend. I drive in, he'd send me PCs or tapes at that time, and we just listened to them, and I would write songs. And that was the first Soul Edition album, and we didn't have a name until maybe halfway through the record. And then we took him and a guy, Numeric. He spins at Rivari Rooms for their Thursday night.
Okay.
Him and RJ had a night, some spot here, I don't remember, and it was called Soul Position Night.
Right.
And they were playing nothing but funk and soul. And that's where we stole our name from.
Soul Position.
Yep. So we got it from the name of that.
Nice.
Yep.
Very nice.
And so, and that's the beginning of Soul Position. And me and RJ have just been friends, and we always are gonna be friends, music and music.
Right.
So,
Well, what's in the future for Weighless Records at this point? Artists, anything you want to throw out there to let
right now,
other artists know?
well, right now, Weighless, I think, is just trying to expand to maybe give the younger guys the opportunity that we kind of gave ourselves. I think, the younger guys, meaning Envelope and Zero Star. Like, those are the guys whose future I'm most concerned about now, and making sure I'm thinking long term.
That's interesting.
I'm not really concerned about weed or greenhouse or a lot. I feel like we've gotten the most out of the Weighless experience, which is, and Weighless is not meant to be like a be all end all. I feel like Weighless should just be like, learn your ropes, you pay your dues, and we give you backing to do the things that you couldn't do when you're at this level.
Right.
And then when someone bigger comes and they want to throw thousands of dollars into a Zero Star envelope, I mean tens of thousands I should say, because we've thrown thousands into people, that's not anything.
About just development.
Yeah, then I want them to be ready for that step, and to be able to make a logical decision on that step. And they can only know that through interviews. And I feel like Weighless is kind of like that, maybe more like a farm team to the bigger labels like the Lime Series and the Def Justice and the Storm Store. And if that's what we end up being, that's cool. Because our goal is not to lock down artists, it's just to help people be more successful. Right. So this year, I'm going to take both of those guys on the road with me to do some dates, hopefully throughout the Midwest, West Coast, wherever, get their feet wet inside of the Columbus market. I've taken Envelope out for a week already, and he loved it. And so I want to take him out a little bit. Let's split the time between him and Zero this year. I'm going to run out in the spring for maybe 3 or 4 weeks and have them split the time hopefully. And that's the next thing, just kind of get them in front of my club. And then anything else I can do to just kind of lend my name. And then I think me and Envelope are going to do a record together. Now, I'm going to produce his next EP.
Nice.
And I had nothing to do with his first record, so now, me and him are kind of building ideas. That's going to be the next thing for him.
You heard it here.
So
nice.
Don't tell anybody because it's not
set in stone.
Well, he's writing, and that could, I don't know, it could take him a month, it could take you 6 months to write a song. But I'm doing my part in sending him music. At least start the process. So that's really what I think what this is going to be. It's just like a hub or like just like a support system for artists who have put out an EP, put out an album, but couldn't make it to the next step, And I feel like even with Envelope, like when he put out his first EP, he came out, he had a good following, and then the buzz around it didn't last as long. Like when he put out Insignificant Anthems, he was a top seller at Magnolia's for 8 months after his album came out. He was in the top 10, and then the Greenhouse versus Radiohead was like top 10 for 8 months. Like those 2 records dominated the top 10 at Magnolia's for the next year, and were the best-selling records of that year, in Magnolia's. But that didn't necessarily happen with EP. I think there were certain things we did to kind of create more buzz, hit the ground really running with this record. Same thing with Zero. Zero had a release party for his record, his first EP, and that was it. It was like downtown. It wasn't even in his area.
Right.
He wasn't part of any bigger shows. And I think just for him doing shows with Weighless, where I'm like, okay, it's going to be you and Envelope, or you and Logic, everyone is like, who's this guy? The people who may have heard of him but never paid $5 to see him on his own.
Right.
Pay $7 to see Blueprint, Envelope a lot, and Zero, and they'll leave a Zero thing, or at least anticipating what he does. And that's what I feel like is my job. That's my responsibility as a person who put this thing together and told these guys that I can help them. That's the least I can do is put them in front of new fans as much as possible.